So you guys can also use a model to explain the eclipses. So this model right here explains the eclipses. And in this same one model, you can explain the solar eclipses and the lunar eclipses. So you can click on both, so you can switch back and forth. So this one's in perspective, so facing the sun. You can see what happens when the moon passes by. You can change the distance of the moon, so what happens when the moon gets further away from the Earth and closer to the Earth. So you can do that right there. And you can show all three different types of lunar phases using this model right here. So we just make this, so here's one right there. I won't say much because you guys are the ones that have to talk a little bit. You can even change the tilt of the moon's orbit. So the moon might be a little bit higher or lower than normal because the orbit of the moon, as you know, is not always at zero, so it changes. So you can use an interactive for these right here, for the solar eclipses and the lunar eclipses. You can also use one for the lunar phases. So this is the moon. So let me pause it over here. So you can talk about the lunar phases. You can drag the moon, or you can spin the Earth, I think, or is it? It's in the other one. Okay, never mind. So in this case, we can move the moon slowly, and we can start seeing the different moons that we are observing right there. So you can see one of the moons right there. If you find another one that's not the ones that I have on the slides, that's fine. There's a lot more. So right here you have another that shows the moon phases. In this one, I think you can drag both. Here, let me pause it. You can drag the moon, or you can spin the Earth. So either one, you can do both. And then you can pause at each different position, and you can talk about the moon phases at each position. So you can easily use an interactive to explain the lunar phases. And there's all sorts of interactive websites you guys can find. So this one has different diagrams that model how the moon looks like at a different perspective. And you can see it here directly. So you can move the moon around, and you can see how that's, changing as the moon is revolving around the Earth. So you guys can easily use this as well.